Good evening. The word of the day is change. Not as in make things different, but as in the coins that you get back from a transaction when it's not an equal dollar amount. A lot of people save their change and toss it into some kind of container. I've done that before. Used to be when we would go camping every summer, I would save my change all year. And that became our spending money while we were at the campground. Usually brought us some ice cream every evening after we had rode around the campground just having a good time. Another man that lived right up the road from here, I heard my daddy say that he was there the day he passed away, and they carried a foot tub full of change out from under his bed that he had been saving for years. I've often wondered just how much money would be in a foot tub of change, but I have no idea. But the best story I've heard about change was one my dad used to tell about a man who lived in a neighboring county. They said the old fellow hung around this country store quite a bit, and said most of the time he walked with a limp. They said he looked like he just was pretty bad off and didn't have very much, and said he'd sit around in the store talking with some of the other men, and said a lot of times somebody would come in and buy themselves a Coca-Cola. And you can tell this was a long time ago because Coca-Colas were only 5 cents. And a lot of times they'd offer to buy this fellow. Said, "You want a Coca-Cola?" Said, "I'll buy you one." Said the old fellow would say, "No, I don't want a Coke, but I'll take the nickel." Well, there was an auction that came up in this county. They were selling this big farm. They auctioned off all the things that went with the farm, and it got down to selling the land itself. They had divided it up into sections, and they were going to sell it that way and then sell the whole thing, and whichever way it brought the most money, that was the way it was going to sell. Well, they started selling the sections, and this man started bidding on them. Several people asked him, said, "Do you know what you're doing?" Said, "That's an awful lot of money." And the man said, "I know what I'm doing." So they just let him alone. They said, "Well, maybe he does." At the end of the auction, he bought the whole farm. Several people again said, "Do you realize how much money you spent?" He said, "I know what I'm doing." He got around where not many people could see him and pulled a double-barrel shotgun out of his overalls. They said after he got that shotgun out of his overalls, he could walk pretty good. He wasn't limping anymore. They said one person saw him take a stick with a little hook on it and reach up in the barrel of that gun and start raking money out. When he got done raking the money out, he had raked out enough money to pay for the farm. Now, I don't know what that amount was, but he must have saved up a lot of change, a lot of those nickels that people gave him for them Coca-Colas, because that did take a lot of nickels to buy a farm. Sometimes just a little bit of change can make a big change in your life. And I guess if you save it long enough, you can have a great day one day.